Hello, job seekers. This is Melanie with CGL Recruiting, and I am so thrilled to not be the only one joining you today. I have the great opportunity to introduce you to Miss Diane Nix. And Diane and I actually had the chance to work together many years ago, too many years ago, showing my age, but back at Compact HP, and we're both HR people. And Diane is going to give us some great information today for you as job seekers, making sure that you are keeping yourself healthy through this process. I know how hard this job search, takes the toll on you mentally, emotionally, and it also does physically. And so I am very pleased to introduce you to Diane, who is going to help us by giving us great tips and information of how you can make sure that you're keeping yourself as a whole person in a good spot. So Diane, thank you so much for joining us for this. I greatly appreciate it. Do you have a second that you could start by maybe telling everybody a little bit about you and your journey to get from where you were as VP of HR to the role that you're going to do now?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Melanie. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, actually, I was in job search for over a year, so there's been a lot of change that I've been through. But in my career, I was with Compact HP for 12 years, Assurant, a lot of big companies in a top HR role or next level. And I've always loved leadership coaching and helping people to improve themselves and helping our businesses to get better. So this was a perfect fit for me to become a health and wellness coach and just continue that journey as I've decided to make this my full-time job now.
I love that. I love that you found this, next passion, and especially the tie-in with job seekers, because you understand from the HR perspective and the company perspective and being a job seeker, how this plays on all the different angles. So thank you so much for being willing to do this. So I'm going to dig right into some of our questions. And the first one being, everything in the world is so rapidly changing. And it's even more important now more than ever to kind of do what we can to make sure that all the job seekers are thriving. And so in your experience, what does being healthy and well look like during that job search process?
Well, that's a great question, Melanie, and I'm so excited to share. But I think it starts with how specifically important it is, both your mental and your physical health are in getting that next job offer. And it starts with some self-care habits. So I want to start by talking about mental health just a little bit and mindset. I mean, our mindset can make or break us in an interview. If you think about mindset, you can come into a job interview with a lot of confidence and energy, or just the opposite. So you really need to make sure your mind is in the right place. And just as you talked about in the question, with so much going on around us, coronavirus, demonstrations, the news that's just going all over the place, family crisis. We don't realize, but our mind is racing 60,000 conscious thoughts a day and 1 to 2 million unconscious thoughts per day. So, I mean, we're going a little bit crazy. We've got a lot of things to do, and in most cases, no set time to do it. So every time that we try to multitask, which everybody thinks, I've got to multitask, I got to do this and that, and I can do it all at the same time. That takes us 15 minutes away from that original level of focus that we needed to get that job done. So that shifting back and forth is really not helping us with our progress. So let me repeat that. Every distraction that comes into play actually is taking us 15 minutes more to get back to that original level of focus.
So then knowing that, so what do you think we should do to improve our mental health and our mindset?
Well, when I was in job search, there were 4 things that were very critical to me. And I'll talk about them each, but I'm going to say them all right now. And that's structure and focus, priority management, creating a guilt-free playtime, which you'll hear more about, and giving yourself grace. I think that's something we tend not to do. But let me start with structure and focus. We've got to remember that job search is a 40-hour job. It's a full-time job. But we've got to create that 40-hour weekly schedule, just as if we were working. But we've got to remember to put those 2 days per week off too. We need some downtime. And I know when I started in job search, I was going. I'd never quit. I just, but it made Diane a dual party. This isn't the best thing to do. So, creating that 40-hour weekly schedule is so important.
It's funny, I just did a post on LinkedIn about that, saying that, take your 2 days off. It's the weekend, but make sure all the systems are working for you over the weekend. So then you can come back on Monday focused and refreshed and then ready to go on value-added work. So I completely agree with you. Those 2 days sometimes can get you so much further ahead for the rest of the week.
Right.
So tell me, when you're looking at a weekly schedule for a very, very structured person, because they are used to working, like you said, that 40 hours a week job, and then going into where they're having to control the entire job search, how do you think to best structure that?
Well, that's a great question too. I think we have to commit to one task at a time. And we can do that in power sessions or little bursts of blocks of time that you can put on your calendar, and then follow those, because that will help you eliminate those distractions wherever you can, and even turning off your phone when you're focused on this set task. Put it away. Block time in your calendar for just doing emails 1 or 2 times a day, because if you have them pinging you all during the day, that's going back to that 15 minutes it takes to refocus. And when it's an important project and one of your big blocks or power sessions, I'd recommend even telling your family, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing for the next 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to be very important to me. Can you just, if you can, not distract me? I really need to get focused. Because you'd be surprised how much more you can get done in fewer hours, and you'll feel so much more accomplished.
With all of the social distancing and the schools all being closed and stuff, I have to put a sign on my door whenever I'm recording so the kids are not walking in from the other offices in the building into my office to do it. So when we're looking then at these blocks of times, what are some of the specific other blocks? I know you talked earlier about priority management. Tell me more, because that's one of your key things that you really hone in on.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, and I look at it as priority management instead of time management, where most people do. I mean, if you think about what are those big rocks that you need to have in your life that's going to fulfill you? I mean, we all have a short period of time that we get on this earth. So we want to do the most we can every day and figure out what those priorities are for you. I'll share an example of me. So my priorities are 1, faith, 2, self-care, 3, family, and 4, job search. And that doesn't mean I spend 40 hours a week on church and 30 hours a week on self-care. And no, it's not that. But it is priority management and taking those big rocks. So if it's my faith, I make sure I've got my church activities that I'm responsible for and that I want to be a part of in my calendar. My meditation, my prayer, those things are part of my day and need to be built in. Self-care, when am I exercising? Do I have my doctor's appointments in there? Or am I eating healthy? Are there things that need to be reminders for me when I need to eat? And things like that, and just to keep me healthy. Third, family is my third priority, and making sure that when I am with a family, the phone is away. I'm really dedicating my time to them during that time, because the rest of the day I'm in my job search. And that's the fourth priority. So blocking those times to apply for jobs, blocking the times to research companies, blocking the times for networking and making connections. All of those things are important, but it's not necessarily time management, but more priority management. And ask yourself, look at your own schedule. Does your schedule reflect your own priorities in your life? And if it doesn't, I would challenge you to unschedule yourself first and start over.
You have a great phrase, which is guilt-free playtime. And I love that because I think as a job seeker, you do feel this enormous pressure on you of, I've got to, provide for my family. I've got to make my bills. You can't help. I think people feel like it's their fault, and you and I have been in this HR for a long time, and we know people are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's not your fault, right? And so how do you really tell people to get that guilt-free playtime, and explain more of your views on this?
Thanks so much. Well, I've got to say, to make guilt-free playtime a priority, because if you think about when you were working, you took coffee breaks, you took rest breaks, you also took vacation. And if you think about, you need to build those things in. Research tells us that the people who get the most done play the most. So build in those breaks and rewards after your power sessions. When you schedule that guilt-free playtime, you have something to look forward to, and that helps you keep focused on the task that you have at hand and really get it done. Now, think about, when are you most productive? Is it right before or right after you go on vacation with your family? I bet I know the answer, right? So, you can get the most done when you're anticipating, I've got this big thing going, but it's going to be fun and I'm so excited. So I want to get this out on my plate. But at the same time, when you do get that vacation break, you're coming up with all these creative ideas, your thoughts are flowing, and that's just going to help you be more effective in your job search, ultimately. So remember to take that vacation time too. That was a hard one for me. Yeah.
It is, right? Especially as that job seeker. Don't feel guilty. Job seekers, you're worthy. I say that all the time. And I want you to truly, honestly know that. I mean, you need to be able to treat yourself good, or an employer is going to see that you're not. And you're not going to do as good as you could on an interview. You need to get your swagger back. I know it's hard. So you gave us 4 areas to improve on that mental health, which is structure and focus, priority management, guilt-free playtime, and then the last one is that giving yourself grace. And I'd like us to hit a little bit more on the give yourself grace. And can you also talk about, why is this also such a difficult thing to give yourself that grace?
Yeah, it was hard for me. I mean, we provide for our family and for everyone else, and most times we're the cobbler's children without the shoes. We don't take care of ourselves. And think about, we can't make very good decisions if we're overtired, if we're depressed, if we're in a bad state. So the greatest gift we can give ourselves and our family and all those people we love and support is to take care of our own self. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. And one of my favorite sayings is, so what if it's not perfect? I'm not a brain surgeon. I mean, I'm here to make it happen and to do the very best I can and look for that next best great job opportunity for me. But one of my favorite sayings is, imperfect progress is better than perfect procrastination. So you don't have to be perfect.
That is a good saying. I love that. Absolutely. So when you're talking about this, this is kind of that great segue into that next kind of self-care habit, which you mentioned, which is our physical health. Mm-hmm. And you have done an amazing job on this. So please tell us, for job seekers, what can we do for them to help them improve their own physical health?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you. I mean, if I think about, during the tsunami of change that we have around us and all of the things that we're experiencing during these crazy times, just the job loss, the uncertainty, not knowing what's next in our future, our bodies are tending to react physiologically in either a fight or flight response. And especially during these times, our bodies are creating these stress hormones. And now these stress hormones are great when it's an emergency, But if we have long-term continuous reaction and continuous release of these cortisol stress hormones in our lives, it can really take away from us. Not only drain our energy, loss of fatigue, loss of brain function, can lead to all different types of disease. And that's what we call a cortisol hangover. So we really want to do what we can to get those things out of here and get rid of that. And there are some tips to do that.
So I know that you have 6 things that you like to focus on to get the cortisol out of your body. So can you kind of review what those 6 things are for all of our job seekers?
Great. Yes. The first one's laughter. I mean, we've got to find a way to release, tell a joke, even text some of your friends that make you laugh. Watch a comedy, some good news, or a carpool karaoke, or something that's going to make you just think about something different. Secondly, exercise. Exercise can also release those stress hormones. It makes you feel better. And that can be as simple as a walk, a hike, a bike, running up and down the stairs. Do something that's easy, but still keep active. Swimming, jumping jacks, whatever you can do. Singing is the third one. Sing in the shower, sing with music, sing in the car if you're in your car. But it just releases some endorphins and makes you feel better. The fourth one is hobbies, doing something that you enjoy doing, something that you love. Fifth one is eating healthy foods, foods that keep your blood sugars low and throughout the day, that are stored with lots of vitamins and minerals and probiotics for good digestive health. Things that are lean proteins, vegetables that are low in carbohydrates, and get rid of those non-value added calories like sugary sodas and alcohol that are not really helping you, but instead drink lots and lots of water. And then finally, 6, get restful sleep. It's recommended that we get 6 to 7 or even 8 hours of sleep, restful sleep every night. And our bodies need that to function and to be productive the very next day.
It's hard sometimes, I think, for job seekers turning off that brain to get that truly restful sleep. And I love that you pointed out the exercise, because I think some of them are spending so much time because we're all social distance, right? And they're behind their computers trying to, they can't network out, so they're doing everything behind a screen. And that exercise, it's easy to realize you've just spent 8 hours behind that computer and not have done what you needed to for your heart health and for you to be healthy overall. I think that's a great one to do. I'd love to talk more about the drinking lots of water, because you hear lots of information on it, and I'd love to hear your view on what do you think you should really be doing when we're talking about water consumption.
Okay. You'd be surprised, and I would challenge each and every one of you to do this more often, because it's going to help you feel better. But when you don't realize, we lose almost 90 to 96 ounces of water each day, just in our normal day. So it's recommended that we drink at least 64 ounces. So that's 4 of those 16-ounce bottles of water, or 64 ounces a day, or half of your body weight in water in ounces. Your body and your organs will love you for it. They will appreciate you for it, and you'll see the difference, and you'll feel the difference, especially during these summer months when there's a lot of heat. Your activities are different. It's really important that you drink your water and get that in.
So for those of us that are getting a little bit older, it's a little bit more challenging to lose some of that weight, and especially we're all doing this stay at home, and the weather I'm actually in the Houston, Texas area, and it's hot, right? And so unless you're in the pool, you're not too happy to be outside. What advice do you have for us as we're trying to lose weight and do things a little bit older on in life?
So, I think there's some easy exercise activities that you can do that what we call NEAT. It's NEAT, and it stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
That sounds so good. It can't be true.
But with it, you actually can lose up to 100 to 200 calories per day. And then you do it in a simple, very easy movement plan. So there are 6 S's of success to our NEAT program. And they start with the first S is stance. So if you're sitting in your chair erect and tall, and you're squeezing in your core area, you can actually be expending calories. So you didn't know you could just sit and lose calories, but the way you sit is very important. The next one is actually called standing. So can you lift your computer? Can you put a box under your laptop? Can you stand when you're doing some of your job search activities? That's another way. Just that weight bearing is going to help you lose some calories. Strolling. So we had stance, standing, strolling. Let's walk. Let's get 10,000 steps per day. Even if it's walking up and down the steps in your house or walking around, you know, some of those areas are open. Some of the parks areas are open where you can distance, and even if you have to wear a mask, I know it's hard, but get that activity in if you can, and build up to it. Stairs, we already talked about that, but a lot of you may not know that just climbing a set of stairs is equal to 100 steps, the same as 100 steps. So use the stairs when you can. And samba, that's the fun part. You can, music is an ergogenic aid. So dance, you know, get your partner, even yourself, put some nice music on, sing and dance. You know, that's always going to be a good exercise. And switch. We say switch because change out the things that you would normally do by hand or electronically, by machine, and use your hand. So for example, instead of having that electric mixer, beat the eggs with your hand, or the vacuum cleaner even. Instead of the Roomba, get out and just do the vacuuming. So dishwasher, wash your dishes with your hands. Do some of those things and switch it up so you're burning those extra calories. And just those little things, stance, standing, strolling, samba, switch, and stairs. And you can burn up to 100, 200 calories a day.
That's easy. Wonderful. So we've talked about a lot of different things. And so overall, do you have any last advice that you would give to job seekers as they're trying to maintain their mental, you know, and physical well-being at the same time as they're in the trenches looking for that next great role for them?
Thank you, Melanie. Yes, there are. And I was in your spot. And I know it's difficult, and it took me a while to get my routine going, but just get that set up. If you treat your job transition and your job search just like a full-time job, a regular 40-hour work week, and remember those 2 days off. I think it's so important. Structure can be your friend, and it can help you with your priorities. You know, making sure those big rocks are in your schedule. And that will help you to be more balanced. And always remember to invest in you and take care of you. You can't be the best you are and do the right for your future employer if you're not mentally and physically healthy. So invest in taking care of you. I mean, if you think about it, your future employer will expect you to have invested, that you've invested in yourself, just as if you were working there today. Employers want to have employees who are whole and who are actively working to become and remain healthy employees so they can get their work done the very best that they can. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? And finally, what matters in a job interview, if you get that wellness question, is that you can demonstrate that you are monitoring your own health and that you are taking actions to maintain and improve a healthy life, and you're doing it regularly.
Diane, I can't thank you enough for doing this and being so willing and giving of your time and volunteering, you know, to do this video with us, because I think job seekers feel very alone, and they're not alone, right? There's so many of us out there pulling for them. And so job seekers, what I'm going to tell you is Diane has even been gracious enough to give us her Facebook link. And so I'm going to put that for all of you in the description down below. Please feel free to connect with her. She has amazing resources for you that will help you if you're struggling in any part of this on your job search. And this is just as important as the time that you're spending actually going out there looking for that role, applying for them, working on your resume, all of those other pieces. This is so critical. It's the foundation. So I hope you take the time to connect with Diane. And Diane, once again, on behalf of all the job seekers and myself, thank you so much for being able and willing to do this.
Thank you, Melanie. It was an honor to be here, and I just hope everybody got something helpful out of it.
I
Look forward to connecting. Thank you so much.
Job seekers, as always, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Please give us that thumbs up if you feel like this information was helpful. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.